Hello, my name is Joseph McGill. I am the History and Culture Coordinator here at Magnolia Plantation and Gardens. And we want you to be here in the cemetery of where the enslaved would have been buried. You see headstones here because this was an active cemetery up until the 1990s. Now, we would be hard pressed to find any headstones for those people who were enslaved. There was a tendency for the enslaved people in their burial practices to bury the enslaved near water, because their belief was that their souls would float back to Africa. So if you go to a lot of these plantations, you will find a lot of cemeteries near waters, near the water, waterways, I should say. I found this cemetery by chance. I didn't know where I was going at the time. I had just woken up in one of the slave cabins at the start of what I call the slave dwelling project, sleeping in slave cabins around this nation. I woke up in that cabin on Mother's Day of 2010, and I walked back here and I stumbled upon this cemetery, and it was here that I figured out that it was for this reason. It was for these people in these places, in these unmarked places here in this cemetery, that I would start that endeavor of the slave dwelling project and sleeping in slave cabins. So it is our attempt to interpret this space more when we are up and running again. We want to show the people how this cemetery transitioned, just like the slave cabins that we interpret transitioned. You know, those slave cabins were built in 1850 and they were lived in up until 1990s. We can certainly identify some of the folks who may have lived in some of those slave cabins as we look at some of the dates on some of these tombstones that are here, some of these headstones that are here, some of that are legible, because some of these folks whose headstones are legible were born into that institution of slavery. However, those who lived and died as enslaved people here, you will find no markings for them, because of course a headstone is an indication of being educated, and a part of that system was keeping them uneducated to keep the system in place. So we're in this cemetery here at Magnolia Plantation and Gardens. I travel to a lot of places like this, and the plantations that I travel to, very few of them know where the burial sites are for the enslaved people. So all of what Magnolia is doing right now to maintain this is great, and I'm hoping that all other organizations out there will do the same. So when you come back over to Magnolia Plantation, ask about the graveyard, and we can give you a special opportunity to come out here and share the information with us.